guys, here I am making a clay Rosy Maple Moth. I'm just setting up here. This was done on stream over my Twitch channel, Rosy Maple Moth, if you want to go check that out. But here I am just preparing my stuff that I'm going to be using. So I'm using white clay, masking tape, wire, got wire cutters there, and coasters in the corner. I'm not using them as I'm not using this as coasters, but I thought they were quite a nice base to put the moth on at the end of it. So I'm using the tin foil as the base. So as you can see, I'm scrunching it up there to get the right kind of rough shape. At this point, I wasn't sure if I didn't know at this point that masking tape could not be used. Like clay doesn't attach to it very well, so you can see me using masking tape here, but you'll see later on that I cover the entire thing again back up in tinfoil. So I'm just keeping it attached currently with the masking tape to just kind of keep the rough shape, and so the tinfoil doesn't all go. I marked the top with a T just to try and remind me that that was the top. I did not end up using that at all. I covered it up straight away, pretty much. So now I'm trying to figure out the wing shape. The first wing I realised it was far too small. Rosy maples have quite large wings in comparison to the size of their body, so I wanted the wing to be a bit bigger. Rosy maple moths do have obviously two sets of wings, but for this I ended up just kind of doing the top wings because the wings were stressing me out. Maybe next, if I were to do it again, I'd do a second set of wings underneath. But as you can see, I'm trying to fight to keep it in and keep it attached. I do secure it with a bit more masking tape in a minute. There we go. The second wing was an absolute nightmare. Again, you'll see that in a moment because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and it got really annoying that the second wing I couldn't get to be the exact shape and size of the first wing, so I kind of had to leave it in the end and hope for the best that the clay would help make it look roughly similar. So as you can see, I'm kind of fighting with the wing there. It just wouldn't really stick in very well. This is obviously sped up super quickly. It took me ages. I turned the light off there because I couldn't tell whether the light was affecting how it was looking or not. So I don't think I've turned the light back on during the whole of this. This is where I did try and do the other wing, but I couldn't be bothered in the end. It was going to cause me too much hassle. So yeah, this is when I tried to figure out whether masking tape is a good base for clay. Realised it isn't, so now I will be covering the entire thing in tinfoil. And I could not figure out how to do it. I ended up wrapping the wings first, and then the body. It was obviously a bit of a long process. So yeah, once the wings were covered, I moved on to the body. It annoyed me a little bit that the tinfoil wouldn't stick to the tinfoil, because I wanted it to be quite smooth, and because of that I wasn't really able to have it attach. So I was hoping that when I put the clay on top, it would kind of keep it down. Obviously I haven't put any legs on yet, but as you can see in a minute, this is me trying to figure out if I was going to attach the legs first, and then I was cutting up the bits of wire. I will say I'm not the best with the wire cutters, and I did lose a bit of wire on the floor a couple of times. I don't think I was using quite the right size of the wire cutters. Because they did cut, just not very well sometimes. So yeah, this was where I was trying to make the tinfoil attach a bit more. I decided to use tinfoil. I was hoping that the tinfoil and the wire would attach the same way as the wings. So I decided to wrap the little legs in the tinfoil. I was saying they look a bit like kebabs, just tiny little kebabs. So yeah, once those were complete, I then did try to see whether there was any way that I could put them on. There wasn't, so I kind of gave up on that pretty quickly. This was me just doing one final covering with the tinfoil, just to try and keep the tinfoil attached, because before it was the top part, half of the body was coming away from the bottom half. So I tried to wrap it all up in one piece. I do realise I kind of forget at times that my webcam was facing down, so I moved it away from the view. So I do apologise for the bits where you can't actually see what's happening. I did try to keep it as much in view as possible. This is when I realised that this clay was very wet and, wet at the start. It's air drying clay. I didn't realise quite how moist it was going to be and how sticky it was, so my sensory issues were both loving it and hating this clay. But I started it and I had to keep going. I couldn't not, I couldn't stop halfway through. So yeah, I was just trying to smooth it down. I realised at this point I did not have any water to help with the process. So at some point I do disappear briefly. Oh, hair reveal, guys. That happened a few times as well. I leant down, forgetting that my head would get in the way of the camera. Have I got water? I think it's this point I go and get water. There's the water. And then I started painting it on, forgetting I could just use my fingers and dip it in. So that I gave up with the paintbrush and went straight to just using my fingers, which worked a lot better, though I did feel like I made the clay too wet at times. So it was very slippy and a bit hard to pick up and move. And the clay at times did slip off because it was so wet. But I think overall it was a good process. As you can see, look, I take it out of view a lot. I should have a big X on my table of where I need to have my hands, so you guys can see the full thing. But you can see most of it. I'm just trying to smooth it down as much as possible and try not to have very thick places. I think I did an okay job, to be honest. I'm still relatively new to using clay and making things out of clay. I don't do it very often. I've been wanting to get into it and get better at it. So this is part 1. Part 2 will be me painting it and finishing it off. There might be a part 3 for the base, but I'm hoping to turn this into a bit of a series, so I might try and make other bugs and use the other coasters as the bases as well. So I've got like little figurines then. I found that because I made the clay quite wet in some places, it was just breaking up a little bit, so I had to go over and make sure I hadn't missed any spots. I didn't want any tinfoil or wire showing through. So the whole process took me about 2 hours. Yes, this is where attaching the legs now, so this was coming near the end of the process. I decided to attach the legs rather than sticking the wire into the tinfoil. I just kind of placed it on and covered it. Covered it with clay to attach. But yeah, this was right near the end of the video. Well, the end of the stream. So I'm just coming to the end of it now. It was really fun. I think I do need to practice on using the clay. Like, I don't think I did a bad job with it. I just feel like it could be better. That was me trying to pose it a little bit. I was contemplating like attaching it to the base and then painting, but I thought I would. I thought I'd be able to paint first, then attach, so I'd be able to paint properly underneath. But yeah, I forgot to put the antenna in now, but so I did that off camera, so they are on there now. But yeah, that's basically my little moth. So if you like this sort of video, I'm really bad at voiceovers, but if you like this sort of thing, follow me, and I will probably be uploading part 2. Not sure when, because I'm going to be busy the next couple of days. But part 2 will be up at some point, and it will be me painting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and see you guys in the next one. Bye!